senior members, my dear professional colleagues, respected speaker, chief guest of the evening, Kollam, Thiruvananthapuram, Alappuzha, Kannur, and Kotyam branches are happy. We are privileged to invite you all to the virtual CPE program on refunds under the GST Act, various practical case studies. And with your permission, I'm calling the meeting to order with ICAI's motto song.
Yaesha supteshu jagrati Yaesha supteshu jagrati Kamam 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 Pursho nirvimanaha Tadeva shukram Tada Brahma Tadeva amritamucchate Tasmin lokaha shataha Sarve taduna kaschanatyami kaschan Etadvaita
Good evening. I Prashant Srinivas, Chairman of Kotyam branch. I am very happy to invite Chairman of Kollam branch, CA Praveen Narayan, for the presidential address and welcome.
Thank you, President sir. Good evening, respected speaker, CA Aanchal Kapoor, Chief Guest of the day, G. Vivekanand IRS, Division Head, CGST Kollam, Honorable Chairman, Secretaries, and other Managing Committee members of all the 5 branches of SARC, Alappuzha, Kannur, Kollam, Kottayam, and Thiruvananthapuram, respected senior members and dear friends. A very good evening to one and all. I'm extremely honored to welcome the very respected and eminent personality, G. Vivekanand IRS. He is presently acting as the Divisional Head, CGST Kollam. When I approached Vivekanand sir to check his availability to join us as the chief guest of the seminar, he readily consented without any hesitation despite his busy schedule. Vivekanand sir, we are really honored to have you here today. And with immense pleasure, I welcome you to this program. I am so delighted to welcome the eminent and vibrant speaker of the session, CA Aanchal Kapoor from Amritsar, to this important virtual program to discuss on the topic GST refunds with practical case studies, illustrations, and latest amendments. We had a wonderful session from Aanchal ma'am on constitutional aspects and judicial pronouncements in GST in the month of July. It was a 5-star rated session, and we have had wonderful feedbacks for the program. I'm sure that everyone will get a lot to take home out of today's program too. Welcome, Aanchal ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I would like to welcome the chairman, secretaries, and other managing committee members of the 5 branches who have made arrangements for making the program happen. I also welcome all the participants who chose to be live with us to attend the program with great enthusiasm. Wishing you all an insightful seminar. Thank you all. Over to you, Prashant sir.
Thank you, Praveen. Just now, Vivekanand sir has sent a message that there is a power failure in his office.
Okay.
In any way that's going to affect our program, you can please check up with sir. Sorry, friends, we'll come back. As the technical problem still persists, we'll move to the next item in the agenda. I request our good friend, CA Rama Sharma, Secretary of Trivandrum branch, to formally introduce our speaker, CA Aanchal Kapoor.
Thank you so much, Prashant sir. It is indeed my honor to introduce Aanchal madam. She is the Joint Secretary of All India Federation of Tax Professionals North Zone, AFTP. She is into practice for the last 10 years in the field of indirect taxes. She has practical exposure in the field of GST by handling various departmental works, including appellate work. She has delivered more than 200 seminars and webinars on GST in various states across India. She is faculty at NACIN, faculty for various certified courses on GST. She has authored various articles on GST published from time to time in the AFTP journal, Tax Guru, Tax Management India, etc. She is an approved faculty of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. She has done various certified courses on GST, including GST certificate course from ICAI. She qualified CA in the first attempt during the year 2009. She is a rank holder in CA and gold medalist in graduation. With this, I present before you CA Aanchal Kapoor. She was also faculty for the GST refresher course, which was conducted by Trivandrum branch during the month of June 21. So in the absence of Gaurav Gupta, she was the one who took the first session for us. It was indeed, like Praveen sir said, a bombastic session, I would say, such a super presentation and delivery. So I'm sure that many of the members would definitely remember that session itself. So welcome, madam, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Rima ma'am, for the introduction. And I hope I will be able to justify today's session also. And I'm really very thankful to Trivandrum branch, Kollam branch, Kannur branch, Alappuzha branch. I hope I'm pronouncing the names correctly. So, and for giving, yeah. Yeah,
Our
sir.
chief guest joined. Can we
sure.
continue the session after his elaboration?
Of course, Prasanta sir, no issues, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, friends. Thank you, Rama, for the brief, crisp, and beautiful introduction. We have with us Sri Vivekanand IRS, the CGST Division Head of Kollam. Now, we have department officers means we get two perspectives of the matter. We and SSC have one perspective. Department may be having a totally different perspective of the matter. So it will enrich our knowledge. Our deliberations will give new insights to the department. So altogether, it will be a knowledge interaction. I'm very happy that Praveen thoughtfully invited CA Vivekanand sir to our midst. And with your permission, I invite Vivekanand sir for his deliberations. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Can all of you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
Okay. Thank God. I've been trying everything on this handset, but nothing seems to be working. So it's just the video which is coming. Okay, I'm Gopalanna Vivekanand, IRS. I'm the district head of Kollam, and was the district head of Octoberr as well till Friday. So now I have relinquished charge and I'm just in charge of Kollam. So I'll just give a brief description about myself. I am an electronics engineer from CET, College of Engineering, Trivandrum. I did my MBA from Cochin University. And subsequently during my service, I did LLB from Kerala University, Law Academy. I'm basically a customs man. I'm basically from the customs appraising stream. At least some of you would have heard about that. That's a very low-key stream in the customs department. You have preventive, which you see in the airports, and I basically come from appraising. And then you have central excise also. So this is one third stream. I worked in Cochin Customs, I worked in Bangalore Customs, and I worked in Chennai Customs too. So Kollam has been my first stint in the GST, to be very frank. And this has opened up a world for me, really. Because in customs, basically, you get 3 minutes for a bill of entry and 30 seconds for a shipping. But here, you have some more breathing time. So, however, I still follow that customs practice. I don't keep anything for more than a day, whatever it is, to the best possible extent. Now, I just heard the introduction by Srimati Aanchal Kapoor. So, what she was, or prior to that, we had a very senior person telling us that the department has one view and the chartered accountant and the taxpayer has another view. Now, I would like to agree to it partially, but not totally, because I think that the chartered accountant should have an independent view. The department's view, the chartered accountant's view, and the taxpayer's view. Because often the taxpayer's view is not an informed one. So, but then when it comes to a chartered accountant, he has to be the person, the key person, in making the taxpayer understand the rules of the procedure, the act of the procedure, and also the compliance aspects. Now, my experience has shown that there are a lot of cases, they don't realize that in taxation, you don't need mens rea. If you violate something, if you violate a rule or the act per se, you are held liable. There is no question of mens rea. There is no question of saying like, I didn't know about it. So it's for the chartered accountant to brief him, to make him understand. And having said that, it's very easy to say. I do also realize, but it's a very tough job. Because I was in special valuation branch in Bangalore, Customs. So I've had this big CFOs and all those people coming from Caterpillar, Volvo, and they were so adamant on their stand. So despite the fact that there was a DRI case against them and there was so much evidence against them, so I do realize, and the CFOs, most of them were chartered accountants. So I realize that it's very hard sometimes to convince your taxpayer about the nuances of law. So I personally would like to request you to have a third view, the view of compliance. So if you see, we have Mr. Unikrishnan and the other chapter branches are members also. We have a GST fraternity. So the essence of the very thing is, we are always there, CPE is always there to support genuine and compliant taxpayers. So our interaction with you is to ensure that such taxpayers are encouraged. Now, coming down to the real thing, the system issues. Now, system issues also, we have a mechanism now whereby, we are there to support you. We know there are a lot of system issues, but however, we don't have a magic wand to sort it out because GSTN is a separate company, government company. So we have to take it up with them from your side and from our side as well. So we have this, we have the grievance redressal month going on right now. And we really look forward to cooperation from your side so that genuine and compliant, let me repeat, genuine and compliant taxpayers are not harmed. Okay, I think I'll just conclude with these remarks. Thank you, Mr. Praveen, and thank you for all the other members who have given me this opportunity to be with you. I'll be there throughout because I can't say anything, but I'll be hearing the whole thing. Okay,
sir.
You very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You have given an insightful, thought-provoking theme that the root of compliance has to be looked into. Though we have different perspectives, ultimately what prevails is the root of compliance. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time, and thanks to the technology, so that despite all difficulties, we could hear your valuable pieces of information. Thank you so much, sir. Aanchal madam, आप ready hai?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, may I call upon our speaker of the evening, CA Aanchal Kapoor from Amritsar, to give her thoughts on the subject refunds under the GST.
Thank you so much, Prasant sir, for giving me this opportunity, as I am already thankful to all the branches for providing this platform. And even I could hear the words of wisdom from Vivekanand ji. That's great to hear that. And it's honor to be here in his presence and deliberate in his presence. So, and a very good evening to all the members. So topic the branches have chosen the refunds is indeed one of my favorite topics, and I hope you all also love it. What I require from your side is lots of interaction. Whatever issues, whatever problems you face in refunds, please mention everything in the chat box. So I want to see, first of all, a few thumbs up in the chat box. Are you all ready to go for it? Can I see a few thumbs up in the chat box? Meanwhile, I share the screen. I should, oh, yes, I got that. Just let me open the chat box again. Great, Devi Krishna ji, Parveen ji. It's great to see that. At least I feel like I'm not interacting with this black box only. Great, Vivekanand sir. It's great to have your thumbs up too. So friends, let me talk about the refunds. You know, refunds is one of the topic which does not only bring smile on the taxpayer's face, even it brings a smile on the person through whom it is being applied. So when you bring this point that, okay, I still remember when when GST was started, one of my client called me up and said, I am not eligible for refund. I said him, I will get that. And when actually I got that for him, I myself felt so good, right? So friends, refunds is one of the encashment of the heart, means the ITC, the excess payments, and so many things. So now, without taking much time, let's jump into GST refunds. Okay, one thing I want to ask all of you, and I want you to write in the chat box, latest Supreme Court ruling name which you got on GST refunds. The very, very latest one and the very, very famous one. Meanwhile, you write that in the chat box. Let me see who gives the answer first. So at least I should not feel it's a post-lunch or evening session and you are just sleeping over there. Right. So friends, if I talk about GST refunds, where are the legal provisions that are contained in? These are contained in the Act from Section 54 to Section 58, deals with the provisions relating to GST refunds. We have a number of rules from Rule 89 to 97A, and the notifications and circulars. Friends, what happened? There were a number of circulars previously. See, 17, 24, 37, and then all these circulars were done away with, and it came a master circular, Circular 125. So whatever provision relating to refunds we generally refer, those are majorly contained in Circular 125. Then we came, there were later circulars 135, 137, and even we have got certain recent notifications and recent circulars in the very last month, in the month of September itself. So we'll be covering all the provisions. Now, let me talk about refund definition. Oh, nobody has sent me the name of the case yet. I'm still waiting. Friends, if I talk about the definition of refunds, generally when we talk about the definitions, those are contained in Section 2 of any act. But the definition of refund is given in the explanation to our master section, Section 54 itself. Section 54 and Rule 89 are two main sections which deals with the GST refunds. So please see, it says refund includes. It means it is defining refund to include. It is an inclusive list. It is not an exhaustive list. What? In the explanation, it is just talking about four types of refunds. What? Tax paid on zero rated supplies. And if I talk about the zero rated supplies, what does it include? It includes exports as well as the SCZ supplies. So what, friends, you know, okay, none of you have written the name of the case yet. Now let me come up with it. It is VKC Footsteps, which is the latest judgment by Honorable Supreme Court in case of refunds. This is such a beautiful judgment that when I'm not talking about the outcome, but I'm talking about that how our law should be read. the arguments that were presented in this, and what were the reflections and how the honorable court has dealt with it. I'm talking about it, and I will be taking up the intricacies of all these provisions, all those arguments which were taken in that judgment itself. Now you see in that, if you will read that judgment, you will find that even a syllabi like the, that have been used over there plays a vital role in reading and understanding the law, and how the intention of the law overtakes the provisions that are mentioned in the law. Right, chaliye, let's have a look. Friends, there also in the judgment itself, they refer to the definition of refund. The refund can be of a number of types. 4 were given in the explanation to section 54 subsection 1 itself. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Other than that, if we go by section 54 subsection 8, there also they have given another 4 types of refunds. And if I combine all these, my dear friends, these are the various types of refunds that can be applied. Now I'll ask one question from all of you. I am sharing 2 case studies before I go for it. And I ask you to reply whether the refund is eligible in that case, yes or no. Let's suppose a client comes to Rema Madam and asks the ma'am that I want the refund. 2 scenarios were discussed by that client. Scenario number 1, the client is going to close the business. Close the business. And the client had huge ITC being lined up. Huge ITC being lined up. Now, whether the answer of madam should be yes or no, whether this person is eligible for a fund, yes or no. Okay, so you all are saying no. Babuji, Mr. Parveen, they are saying no. Okay, let me talk about the second scenario. A person comes and says, I am importing cement at 280 rupees. Cement is being imported at 280 rupees per bag. Custom says we value it at 320 rupees per bag. This person sells the cement because his costing is 280 rupees per bag. He sells it at 310 rupees per bag. Sale is at 310 rupees per bag. He has huge ITC being piled up. Accumulation of ITC is there. My question to you is this person eligible for refund? Yes or no? Yes or no? Reason of accumulation is very, very clear. He is being charged at 320 rupees input and the sale is at 310 rupees. Because the input is more, output is less. So Devi Krishna ji has said yes. Case number 2 is eligible for the refund. What about others? Okay. Babu Evanji says no, he is not eligible. Anybody else? So we have 1 vote in favor, 1 against. Rest are nowhere. Now let me come to it. Friends, this is not a fit case for refund. Now, why I'm saying so? Listen, there can be a number of criteria where a person have huge credit accumulations. Like we discussed, closure of the business. Second, valuation difference. Mr. Babu was absolutely right in saying that here it is not an inverted duty structure. When we talk about inverted duty structure, rate of tax matters. Here the accumulation is not due to rate. Here the accumulation is due to valuation. Because the value taken by custom is 320, tax is at 28% only on cement. Likewise, the sale is being made at 310. The rate is again 28%. So this is not an inverted rate structure. No, this is not inverted rate. This accumulation is due to valuation. So let me tell you, if any client comes to you and asks you whether I'm eligible for refund or not, please make sure his or her case must fall in only these criteria. In that case, only that person will be eligible for refund, otherwise not. Now, what are those criteria? First of all, exports. The government wants to promote the exports. For any country, the exports are quite valuable. And in GST law, there are two ways by which we can make the exports: without payment or with payment of tax. Although, friends, let me tell you one more thing, that this with payment of tax option, is very limited as of now. Why I'm saying so? It will soon be going away. Reason, the government has already announced that they will be not giving any more refunds in the with payment of tax option in the times to come. So it's a budgetary proposed amendment. So when it will get implemented, with payment of tax option will go away. It will be limited only to certain specified commodities. Right now, exports can be with payment of tax, without payment of tax. Both are eligible for refund. With payment of tax is very, very quick. You file your GSTR1, your shipping bill is your deemed entry, and you get the refund of goods with payment of tax of goods. However, with payment of tax for services, because you know, my dear friends, services has no trail. Because it has no trail, the refund has to be applied through a proper application. Without payment of tax, whether of the goods or of the services, you get the input refund. I will be discussing all in detail, so don't worry. So we have two categories: export refunds with payment, without payment. Likewise, absolutely same is SCZ. SCZ is also like with payment, without payment. Please, I'm not talking about here. SCZ will be getting the refund. Supplier to SCZ will be getting the refund. This is very, very clear. Whosoever person is supplying to SCZ, it is a zero rated supply for that person, and he will be eligible for refund under this category. Third, ITC refund in case of inverted duty structure, IDS, right? Other than that, sometimes we pay the taxes excessively. Okay, I give you one more example for excess payment of tax. Let's suppose a particular sale was there, which was taxable at the rate of 12%. But the person inadvertently paid the tax at 18%. He is eligible for refund of excess payment of tax under this category. I give you one more example. Credit notes. A person was supposed to get the credit note of income from the one country, but the person didn't get the refund. So in this case, the refund of excess payment, or let's suppose there was a credit note on income. A company gave me a credit note. I am in a business of electronics. The company gave me a credit note at the month end. Now, in that case, if there is a credit note and the income is there, he has issued an invoice against it and paid the taxes. He can take the refund under the category excess payment of tax when he has paid the tax on the amount of credit notes. Now, other than that, intrastate supply taken as interstate. You were supposed to pay C&S, you paid I, or vice versa. So that is called as wrong payment of taxes. There is a difference between excess payment and wrong payment of taxes. Deemed exports. Many people confuse between the exports and the deemed exports. My dear friends, is there any issue with the voice? Is there any issue with the voice? Is it breaking?
In between voice is breaking, but okay.
All right, no issues. I just, meanwhile, I will be continuing from this only. Let me switch on the another laptop also, if it is.
Okay, ma'am.
Right, friends. I have said for the another laptop. Just give me a few minutes. Meanwhile, I'm continuing with it. Deemed exports. Please don't confuse with exports and deemed exports. These are two different categories. Other than that, we have is you pay pre-deposits, appeals, you pay the taxes on account of appeals or any other orders. And if you win that appeal or you get favorable decision is in provisional assessment, the person is eligible for refund. You have accumulated excess balance lying in your cash ledger, then also the person is eligible for refund. But now, the most important is others category. Friends, people think like the cases I discussed with you, closure of business, inverted duty structure, due to credit accumulation due to valuation, sale on loss, people think we have any other category. Let me make it very, very clear that this category is not. Praveen sir, can you please directly share me the user ID password so that I don't have to register the other one?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Please share it in the chat box itself, if possible. I will directly switch on the Zoom from it. Now, I have, in any case of any sort of interaction, please mention it in the chat box. Now, friends, if I talk about these any other category, please let me make the point very, very clear that this other category does not mean that whatsoever case does not fall in any of the previous categories that can be taken in any other category. The answer is no. Any other category is for some specific cases only, which you have been dealt in a particular circular. Like I give you an example. In case of fabric dealer, there was a problem of negative refund, negative amount being shown over there. So in those particular situation only, any other category can be used. Otherwise, it cannot be used. So please make it very, very clear. Sir, I have not moved the PPT. Don't worry. I was on the same PPT itself. All right. Chale. So that is why any other category is there, but it is to be used for those particular cases only. Now, let me move forward. We talked about various categories of refunds. You know that where we have to make the application, all the applications for refund now goes on virtual mode, online mode, and as I have numbered it in the chart, you can see these numbers 2, 7, 6, 3, and so on. Likewise, I have related it with the online chart also by the same numbering. For every type of refund, we have to make the application, but we don't have to make the application for exports with payment of tax of goods only. So that is the one where no application is further required. Now, friends, if I talk about the first and foremost section, that is section 54. Section 54 says, my first question to all of you is, answer me if you have any excess penalty being paid. Excess penalty being paid, can the refund be applied? Yes or no? Excess penalty being paid, can the refund be applied? The answer is yes. Absolutely, Parveenji, we can apply for the refund. Reason, see, section 54 says any person claiming refund of any tax and interest paid on such amount, or the words written there are, or any other amount paid by him, can make an application within a period of 2 years. Now, any person. You know, this any person, recently the GSTN has come up with a document that previously there were certain persons who were not registered, but they have paid certain taxes. They are eligible for refund. The section itself says any person, but the utility was available only and only for a registered person. That is why they have mentioned that as this facility was available only and only for a registered person, now they are going to do it for the non-registered person also. So very soon that utility will also be coming. Now, moving ahead. Section 54 says you have to make an application form RFD 01 as per rule 89. 2 years time period is there. Section 54 subsection 3 is the most important sections. Friends, just give me 10 minutes to explain the section, and then we will be jumping into all the case studies relating to the various types of refunds. But now for another 10 minutes, I need your attention towards it. Subject to the provisions of subsection 10. Subsection 10 says if you have any amount due towards the government, they can withhold your refund. If you have not furnished the returns, they can withhold your refund. A registered person may claim refund of any unutilized input tax credit. Now, please give it a look. The words are unutilized ITC, UITC. Section 54 subsection 3 is the main important section that talks about that, okay, a person is eligible for the refund. Words used are unutilized input tax credit at the end of any tax period, provided that no refund of ITC. Again, the words used are UITC shall be allowed in cases other than. Now I'm presenting those arguments. Listen, unutilized input tax credit can have a number of cases, like we just discussed: closure of business, lost sale, valuation differences. There can be a number of cases, but the law restricts them and says if you have any unutilized ITC, still the refund will be granted only in these two cases. What are these two cases? Zero rated supply and inverted duties rate structure. Inverted duty rate structure. Now, my dear friends, and here the argument starts. First, I'm presenting it from the assessor's viewpoint. Assessee says, my lord, there have been, let me tell you a brief background before I go into the arguments. This matter went to Honorable High Court first, Gujarat High Court in the case of VKC Footsteps, Madras High Court in case of TVL Afcons Joint Ventures Limited. The matter was that in case of inverted duty structure, why you are restricting the refund of input services, whereas in case of first limb, zero rated supplies, input services are eligible as refund. Here, eligible as refund, input service. Here, only inputs are eligible, input services are not eligible. VKC Footsteps came up with the favorable judgment for the assessee, registered taxable person, that even input and input services both should be allowed. However, Madras High Court was against this, that it should not be allowed. And ultimately, now the matter in case of these petitions went to the Honorable High Court, Honorable Supreme Court. Now let's see. I'm presenting the arguments in favor of the registered taxable person. Though, what are the wordings? Unutilized input tax credit. My dear friends, unutilized input tax credit is a common word. No refund, no and other than are two negative words. Two negative words together make one positive. No, other than. Two negatives make one positive. It means refund of what? Refund of UITC. Did you explain UITC? Answer is no, not. It is not there in UITC. Now, in this case, UITC is not explained, and the general meaning of input tax credit we take from the definition. It covers your inputs, input services, as well as your capital goods. So all the three should fall. But explanation to 54 excludes capital goods. Excludes capital goods, right? Somebody has written is about inverted duty structure where ITC on both capital goods and services are not included. Yes, absolutely, Babu sir. And this is what point I'm going to discuss at length with you all. In this case, my dear friends, arguments were the main point is unutilized input tax credit, which is a common word for limb number 1 and limb number 2. My dear friends, what it says, you will be allowed the refund. I am making two negatives as one positive. You will be allowed the refund of what? Unutilized input tax credit. In cases, it means there are cases being provided where it is allowed. What are those cases? Zero rated supplies, and second is inverted duty structure. So these were the arguments. Unutilized ITC is a common word which is used for limb number 1, limb number 2. It carries the same meaning as per section 54. And if in zero rated supplies, we are giving it for input and input services, the parallelly, it should be I and IS here also. Here also. Now, in this case, my dear friends, what it was held, what they used, they said these are cases. There can be a number of cases. Out of these two cases, refund is eligible. Case number 1, zero rated. Case number 2, the words input that is being used here is just a condition that, okay, out of so many cases like losses, valuation differences, and so on, only the refund will be allowed when the rate of input is greater as to the rate of output. To check whether it is IDS or not, we have to use inputs. But once I fall into IDS, what refund should be eligible? Entire UITC. They also presented, they relied upon the words, what? Cases. These are the cases, means these are the conditions. Point number 2, use of the definite syllabi, the shows it is talking about the same UITC which is given in the main part of the proviso. So the arguments that were put forth that these are only the conditions. 1, 2. If the conditions are fulfilled, entire UITC should be allowed. But the arguments from the department sides are, no, these are not the conditions. First, you say classification, differentiation. Yes, zero rated means exports and domestic supplies cannot be equated. These cannot be equated. So it is the statutory responsibility whether they want to give. Okay, let me ask you one question. Is refund a vested right or it is a statutory right? Is refund a vested constitutional right or it is a statutory right? My dear friends, refund is a statutory right. If law, statute will allow you, you will get that. If statute will not allow you, you will not get that. If I say you went to China, Singapore, their government, their statute saying, okay, the passenger on the airport will be getting the refund. It will be allowed. If they don't mention, then it will not be allowed. Second case, on Indian airport, if they allow the refund, it will be given. If they don't allow, it will not be given. Still, we have many categories. The construction service is in negative list for refund. No refund is eligible for the construction service. So first, basic argument. First, you say classification. Yes, the Constitution of India, Article 14 says that there must be equality, but it does not say that 10th paper and 4th class paper should be same. Intelligible differentia. I can divide it into categories, domestic and the export, and we can make different set of rules. So in category number 1, because it is 0 rated, we are allowing it for I and IS both. Whereas in the second, we are allowing it only and only for inputs and not for the input services. Second point. They said this is not a condition. This is a substantive restriction. Law intention. The intention of the law is not to grant the refund in case of input services in IDS. Hence, Rule 89 Sub-Rule 5 is perfectly valid rule. As a result, the refund should not be allowed. Now you see, even the words like the, unutilized ITC, cases carry such an important relevance. As a result, my dear friends, the Honorable Supreme Court has come up with the judgment, no refund of input services will be eligible in the inverted duty structure. Let me tell you, practically also, department was not allowing the refund of input services in case of IDS when we were making the application, and now it is almost not allowed. Let me ask you one more question. A person is in a works contract, doing government works contract or some other works contract. He has accumulated ITC. Whether the person, the contractor is eligible for refund, yes or no? Yes or no? Be quick in answering, please. Is that person eligible for refund? Yes or no? No. Why no? Why no, Babu Ivanji? Bataiye. Why no? Friends, the notification number 15/2017 restricts only and only construction service. And I was not talking about construction service. I was talking about works contract. Works contract is not entry number 5B. It is entry number 6A. So as a result, if a person is on works contract, he has inverted duty structure, he will be eligible for refund. Only one service which in refund is not eligible is, as per notification 15/2017, is a construction service. And works contract is covered in the entry number 6A of schedule number 2. It is eligible if there is inverted duty structure. You know, initially fabrics were also included in this negative list category for refunds. But now many entries of that have been deleted. The fabrics, cotton fabrics, silk fabrics are now eligible for refund. Moving ahead, these cases we have already discussed. Now let me come to the relevant date. My dear friends, the same numbering which I put in the initial chart, I have given the same numbering that for which type of refund, which relevant date is to be seen. Now here, I ask you one important question regarding inverted duty structure, or let's discuss the amendment right here. Friend, if I talk about the inverted duty structure, previously, before the amendment, it was 2 years from the end of relevant assessment year. Babu Ivanji, I will come to the export duty case. Don't worry. Surely I will come to it. Right? Okay. Now, I will come to it with a practical example. August 2017 refund was due. My dear friends, before the CGST Amendment Act 2018, before the amendment, the time period was 2 years from the end of the year. August 2017, end of year was 31st March 2018, plus 2 years. It means till 31st March 2020, the refund was eligible. However, they changed the wordings and said by CGST Amendment Act 2018, effective from 1st February 2019. Now the wording was not from the end of the particular year. The wording was which month? August 2017. What is the due date of August 2017? 20th 9 2017. I'm not talking about the extended date. If there was extension, that will be taken. Plus 2 years. 20th 9 2019. So my dear friends, in case of inverted duty structure, 2 years starts from the due date of filing of refund for that month. Here, there was an issue of debate. What the officers did, they said any refund which is applied post 1st February 2019, we will be covering it as per the new provision. Sir, the time period was curtailed from 31st March 2022, 20th 9 2020. But yes, the provision has been challenged, but now there is no outcome as such. All the refunds which are given, which are applied post March 2019, Feb 2019, to whichsoever period, this new date has been considered. Second case study, I would like to highlight here. Friends, first of all, we must apply the refunds within the period of 2 years. But let's suppose a client comes to you, Babu Evanji, a client comes to you and says, sir, I have made two exports, export number 1 and export number 2. Both are made in the month of August. Both are made in the month of August. Now you say plus 2 years, time period is 7/8/28. And the person is coming to you on 20th 8. So what will you say? Whether both are eligible for refund or only this one will be eligible for refund? It is an important study which I am discussing here with you, that please come back to section 54 subsection 3 itself. Friends, 54 subsection 3, you can see I have highlighted the words at the end of any tax period, the blue color. As a result, although the officer may say that your refund of the category number export number 1 is time bar, but still you can take the plea of section 54 subsection 3, which clear cut says at the end of the tax period. And what is at the end of the tax period? The minimum tax period in GST is 1 month. My dear friends, some people are mistaken. What? That when they combine the refund, let's suppose for 1 quarter, for 6 months, for 12 months, they can take the last date. No, each and every month due date will be separately calculated. It is not like that if you are applying it jointly for January, February, March, the date from March will be taken. No. But here what I am mentioning, that because the smallest tax period is 1 month, it cannot be broken down from 1 month. As a result, you can put a point that even this export number 1 is also eligible for refund. Friends, as Babu Evanji has said, I am just taking the point here itself. Other than the first proviso, we have 2 more provisos also. And what is the proviso? that, if the goods are exported, I'm explaining the new amendment also here, like with it itself. Friends, if you are exporting the goods and the goods are subject to export duty, then in that case, the refund of this 54 subsection 3 is not eligible. Now the question comes, some people says that there are certain goods where nil rate of export duty is mentioned. Whether that will also be covered here or not, whether they will be considered as subject to export duty, just give me answer, yes or no. They say if your goods are subject to export duty, you are making the exports and goods are subject to export duty, the refund will not be allowed. My question is, there is a particular good on which nil rate of duty is mentioned. Whether that will also not get the refund, yes or no? The government has come up with the clarification by the recent circular, which says if the nil rate is mentioned, it is considered as not subject to export duty. Not subject to export duty. I hope this point is clear. Now let me come to the third and the last proviso to section 54 subsection 3. Friends, 54 subsection 3 last proviso says, if you have taken the drawbacks, you will not be eligible for refund under the section 54 subsection 3. Meaning, if you are taking refunds from the customs, you cannot have both hand laddus, right? You cannot take the duty drawbacks of IGST from the custom and likewise the refund from the IGST from the GST department. So the goods for which the drawback, but there have been the recent judgments by various courts which says it is applicable only on the higher rate of duty drawbacks. If you have taken the duty drawbacks of customs, you cannot be denied the refund of IGST. So a number of cases have been come that even where the client has gone for the drawbacks, but the drawbacks are of customs, you cannot deny them the refund of the GST. So higher duty drawbacks, if have been claimed, only then that person is not eligible if he has taken the drawback of IGST over. Right now, let me move further. Friends, let's start with some practical case studies. Okay, now answer me a question. For how much time period you can simultaneously file a refund application? Now I want all of you to come up with the answers. So as we have read the law, now let me ask you a few questions. I want you, for what time period you can file a single application of refund? Friends, previously it was that if there is any break in a financial year, have a look on the example. Previously, if there is a March month and there is April month, before the amendment, these could not be bunched. These could not be bunched. The bunching of refund claims was not allowed against the different years. Later on, this matter was highlighted in case of Delhi High Court judgment in case of Pitambra books. You know, see, there was a loss. I tell you how. I say you, there is a person, Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein, in the March month, made a number of purchases and the purchase input was 1 lakh. But he could not make the export. Export was 0. Refund came out to be 0 because the exports were 0. Reason, sir, he purchased the goods in March, he manufactured the goods and he exported it in April. Now you see, even in the month of April, his refund came out to be 0. Reason, purchase input is 0, although we have exports. So it was resulting into loss for the taxpayers. Now what they mentioned, they said you can now bunch the refund claims even across the years. Now this person can file a combined application for March to April. Purchase input 1 lakh, exports 12 lakhs, refund full 1 lakh. So you see, before amendment, the refund was reduced to 0, and now entire purchase of 1 lakh was eligible for the purpose of refund. So this was a very welcome move, which stated that even you can now make a refund application for 1 month, for a quarter, for even 6 months, for even 1 year, or for even 1.5 years, or can even 2 years. I will not go beyond 2 years because the limitation period is 2 years. So you can file a combined application for 2 years even. I hope this amendment is clear to all. Now, let me talk about the refund interest. But before we move on to it, let me discuss the refund process. Okay, just tell me one thing. Now, just tell me one thing. Is the refund, there is any time period which is provided for the refund? Are there any time periods for the refund? Yes or no? Yes. If yes, then mention the time period, please. Is there any time period for sanctioning of refund? Is there any time period for crediting of refund? Is there any time period for officers to refund? Babu Evanji says 7 days for provisional refund. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Friends, there are a number of time periods. And this is the entire refund process at a glance. Have a look. First of all, you make the refund application. If officer, friends, this is very, very important from the person who viewpoint of the person as well as the officer concerned. Look here, refund application is made in RFD 01. If the officer is satisfied with the documentation that, okay, your documents are correct, he will issue you acknowledgement in RFD 02. Time period within 15 days. If he is not satisfied with the documentation, he will issue you a deficiency memo, that is DM. That is DM. Now, friends, at this stage, only and only documents are checked. Only and only documents are checked. Later on, if Babu Evanji, the period which you mentioned, if it is a refund case of exports, then the provisional refund is given within 7 days. But this was only the one time period. After that, now at the first stage, my dear friends, the officer checked only whether the documents are complete. But now he's doubtful as to your formula, your calculations, your document inside, information inside the document. He can issue you a show cause notice. You will reply that show cause notice within a period of 7 days. So from the time he has issued you SCN, within a period of 15 days or what? Generally, the 15 days time period is only given in the SCN also. If he is satisfied, he will issue you the refund, or otherwise he will pass the rejection order, and the main time period is 60 days. The refund must come to your account within a period of 60 days. Who has asked me this? CA Tony G, I say you just give me 2 minutes and your answer will be there. Right? Chaliye, we just discuss it in another 2 minutes. Friends, please make it sure if these time periods are not resorted, the very first time period, if the officer has not given you either RFD02 or RFD03 within a period of 15 days, entire process goes wrong. If he rejects your refund, without giving within a particular time period, that is a very valid ground for appeal and the relief is expected. If the refund is not credited within a period of 60 days, then the department is liable to give the interest. And this is what the case of Gst International also. I have mentioned that case law here. Here it is. Gst International. Friends, in case of Gst International, it has been very clearly held that the time periods that are provided under the rules are not recommendatory time periods, but are mandatory time periods. And if the department is not resorting to the time period, they have to provide the interest. Right? Chaliye. Now let's move forward. Friends, as I told you, that there were certain cases, if you have excessively paid the taxes, even Circular 125 lists all the cases that are eligible for refund. From A till L, all the cases are listed. But only in these last 4 cases, please make it short. Sometimes the department official says that this rule, this particular provision applies to all the refund. Answer is no. The provision I'm going to discuss is only applicable on these 4 categories of refund. And what it says. I tell you the background first. What was happening? People were encashing their credit ledger. Now you will ask me, how were they encashing? Please look in this example. Actual sale of a person was 1 lakh. 1 lakh. He was supposed to pay the tax of 2,500. But now you say inadvertently or deliberately, he paid excess tax. You say, why is he paying excess tax? I'm telling you why. It can be an inadvertent mistake also. Generally, your article was filling it and he mentioned 5% each. Wrongfully 10,000. Now, there was a balance also with the person concerned. 7,000 was in his credit ledger. 3,000 was in his cash ledger. So this article, Bhai Saab, he used the credit ledger balance and he paid 7,000 and called to the party, sir, your 3,000 taxes due. The party said, okay, I too had a liability of 5,000 rupees. And this person is saying me 3,000. Okay, done. Return was filed. Later on, you analyze, it is so excess tax paid by 5,000 rupees, 2,500 CGST, 2,500 SGST. Now, in the old regime, he made the application under the category excess payment of tax. This is also one of the case, excess payment of tax. Now you see, he was getting a refund of 5,000. You know, my dear friends, what happened? 3,000 he paid in cash. 2,000, 7,000 total was paid from the credit ledger. But now he got a refund of 5,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees of credit ledger were encashed. Government noticed this point. That's this sort of manipulations are happening. Reason, see, if he would not have done, what would have been done? 7,000 was the credit ledger. 5,000 would have been the output liability. 2,000 balance would have been carried forward. Is that so? Yes. But now this person got 2,000 rupees in cash. He paid 3,000 from the pocket, got 5,000 back. And unjust encashment of the credit ledger. Government stopped it. Said, wait. Now it will not happen. There are 2 bags, cash and credit. if you are paying from the credit ledger, you will get the refund in the credit ledger itself. Now, government said, how much you paid in cash? 30%. How much you paid in credit? 70%. How much refund you are seeking? 5,000. 30% of 5,000, only 1,500 you will get in cash. 70% again will be credited to your credit ledger. Now, the person who was getting 5,000 rupees, he will be getting, although refund is 5,000, but 1,500 only will be in cash. Rather, he is at loss. He paid 3,000 in cash, but he will get only 1,500 rupees in cash back. And remaining amount of 3,500 will be given in his credit ledger. Friends, this rule is applicable only for these 4 cases. Because if I talk about ITC refund, ITC means encashment of credit ledger. And if ITC balance will again be returned to ITC, it is of no use. So this is not applicable to inverted duty. This is not applicable to exports. Only these 4 categories. Now, I am coming to friends, whenever you apply for refunds, please make it sure your bank account details are validated. And you know from where it takes the bank account details? It takes the bank account details from when you applied the number. Now, Tony ji, I am coming to your point also. Friends, let me tell you one point. When you read section 54, nowhere it was mentioned that the refund is available only and only to a trading entity, where input and output are same. Was it mentioned? No, it was not mentioned. However, Tony ji, through a circular 135, government imposed a condition. Although this circular, according to me, is ultra vires the law, and this provision needs to be challenged. They said, if you are dealing in X commodities and it is a trading entity, you purchase the goods at 18%, later on the rate reduced and you are selling it at 12%, you are not eligible for refund under section 54 subsection 3. You are not eligible. The input and output should be different. They say it is only a rate reduction. And if you have credit accumulation due to these, you are not eligible for the refund under inverted duty structure. Second, friends, where to fall under inverted duty structure, I already mentioned rate of inputs. I gave you an example. Cement in our case was 28%, not eligible. Rate on inputs should be greater than the rate on outputs. You don't have to compare the capital goods. You don't have to compare the input services. Let's see it with the help of practical example. This is the formula. This is the formula. My dear friends, first of all, the formula gives only the maximum amount of refund. Can we get refund in case of export of services without payment of taxes on capital goods? Sagar Dubey ji, the next slide, when we will be dealing with export, where there I will show you, answer will be yes, the positive one, as and when we move forward. Right? And how it will be done, I will show you through practical example. Look, friends, this formula gives you the maximum amount of it. Very, very simple. Net ITC, proportionate. What we are doing, we are just doing the proportionate. Proportionate in the ratio of sale turnover minus tax payable on inverted duty. Have a look on with the help of an example. Let's suppose ITC on inputs is 18,000. 18,000. This person is totally into inverted duty. Totally. Divided by 1 lakh. Multiply by 1 lakh. Entire 18,000 is eligible for refund minus tax paid. The amount which you have used minus 5,000 they have used. 1 lakh at the rate of 5%, 13,000. So this entire 13,000 is available as a refund, right? Now I take the second example. Friends, this formula here is presented in front of you on the screen. This gives you the maximum amount, maximum. Again, after that, we have the balance checks being there. If as per formula, amount comes out to be 50,000, but the balance in your credit ledger is only 30,000. Let's suppose you are applying it for January 2021. At the end of January 2021, the balance is 30. Now you are making the application in June 2021, let's suppose. The balance at the end of period June 2021 is 28. You will be granted the least refund, 28. Reason, you have already used the refund amount. You have already used the credit amount. So the least is granted. Now how? This formula gives you a total amount, 28,000 rupees. Firstly, it will go from IGST. If IGST is not available, then equally between C and S. And if even C and S may say any fall short, the balance from the other head, right? Have a look on this. This person, client has input A and input B. Please check whether output Y is formed. Answer is yes. Is it trading? No, it is not trading. Eligible for IDS. Rate of output 12%, rate of input 18%. Eligible for IDS refund. My dear friends, some people take that this 5% input will not be considered. Answer is this 18% input will not be considered. Only the higher inputs will be considered. The lower inputs will not be considered. No. Whole entity input will be considered. 25 plus 360. So input ITC, listen, you have 35 plus 360. This is your total input of 385. Your output was 360 minus 385 minus 360. The balance in the ledger is 25 rupees when you are going to apply for the refund. Apply the formula. 25 rupees total, 385, and the circular para 54 very clear-cut mentions all the inputs to be considered, whether higher, whether lower. Second, in this scenario, input A is at 12, output Y is at 12. Credit accumulation is there. Another case of credit accumulation. But this is due to input surveys, not eligible. Not eligible. This is not a case. Now you see, my dear friends, here this person has rupees 60 as credit accumulation. He is having rupees 60 as credit accumulation. Very high accumulation, but still not eligible for refund. Not eligible for refund. Reason? Rate of input and output should be different, which is saying input service is not to be considered. Hence, this is not a case of inverted duty. Third, the most important. Now, my dear friends, it might be possible the person has mixed turnover. Some is inverted duty, some is at normal rate. Have a look. This person is in manufacturing as well as trading. Now, you know, Sagarji, sometimes the person says, or the officer concerned also says, sir, trading is not eligible. Take it back. Take it out. And we will give you refund only on the basis of manufacturing. No, absolutely no. Trading is not eligible for the numerator. Numerator only, not for entire. Now you see, you will not say, I have ITC of 385. No, even this ITC will be taken. Total ITC is of 985. Output total is 972. this and this. Balance left is 985. The person had an input of 985, output of 972. 13 rupees was left in his balance. 13 rupees was left in his balance. Now let's apply the formula. Yes, trading is not eligible for refund, but in the multiplier, now you see what it will say. Net ITC, you have to take it for the whole concern, 985, divided by total turnover, 8100. Multiply by, now I will say, the eligible inverted duty is only 3000. Minus tax on inverted duty, only tax on 3,360. My dear friends, the refund is 4 rupees 81 paisa. Although the balance lying in the ledger is 13 rupees. What point I want to highlight here? Proportionate effect. Because your trading turnover was greater than manufacturing turnover, it reduced your refund. Or it can be vice versa also. If your manufacturing is greater than trading, then your refund amount can be higher. So please make the correct use. And now you know, as per the Honorable Supreme Court judgment, this formula is again under review. Because these types of points were highlighted, that a person who has a mixed turnover, the formula is different. And a person who has only inverted duty turnover, the formula works out different. Kya baat hai, Babu Evan ji? Let's have a look upon the next case. Here, if I say, friends, sometimes people ask me, I have packing material, other materials which are under the P&L. Sir, no distinction is of trading and P&L in GST. Input is an input. Even if your packing material or any input rate is higher, it will be considered. Now, Babu sir, if you say a person is selling the vegetables using input goods, say plastic bag, and it is a packing material, if it is a goods, if it is a good and he's under, now see, Babu, the vegetable example you have taken is an exempt supply. But what point I want to highlight here, you need to clarify your point a bit. Listen, even if the packing material, printing stationery, repairs, any input which you classify as input is stores, spares, even if they are at a higher rate, the person gets eligible for IDS. I hope you wanted to ask the same question. Now, let me come to the next one, refund of exports, which even Sagar Duveji was asking. Sir, the formula is same, but you don't have to deduct minus tax paid. Tax paid is going to be 0 because it is under LUT. Export tax is 0. So let's have a look. Friends, in this case, the most important point that comes in our mind is which option should we choose? Now, let me ask you one question. Let me ask you, I think so, Vivekanand sir has, no issue, sir. Your presence till now is a great for all of us. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Friends, listen carefully. Whenever there are capital, okay, now let me ask you one question. One question, please. A person has applied for LUT. A person has applied for LUT. My question to you is, can he make exports with payment of tax? Yes or no? Can he make exports with payment of tax? Can he shift anytime? Friends, only Babu Evanji is there or somebody else is also there? I can't see any more names. I know you are tired now. But just 15 more minutes and then it will be over. Quickly. The answer is yes, absolutely correct. you can shift any number of time. Even if you have taken LUT, you can shift LUT, one consignment payment basis, one consignment without payment basis. Sagar Dubiji, I'm replying your question. Friends, when I say you can shift anytime, so you can do the tax planning for your client. If he has capital goods purchased, then it is always better to go for the option with the payment of tax. And this is what the question you asked, sir. What was there in it? In this way, you can get your capital goods encashed. Have a look. But this is only in exports, because option is available only in exports or SCZ supplies. Now see, this person has inputs, ITC, input service ITC, capital goods ITC. Total ITC is 10,000. His output is, he has made export of 1 lakh at the rate of 12%. 12,000 is the output. Case number 1, if he goes for without payment, he doesn't have to pay anything. No output tax. What will happen? He will get the refund of only these two, 5,000. 3,000 of ITC 1 and 2,000 another. Refund is 5,000. 5,000 will keep lying inside. But if he goes for the option with the payment of tax, how much he was having? 10,000 input. 12,000 is his output. 2,000 he has to pay from the pocket. And he will get the refund of entire 12,000 rupees. So, Mr. Dubey, Mr. Sagar, if you think your client has a particular capital goods purchased during the year, it is always to go for with payment. And please plan it soon, because when the with payment tax option will now flew away, you never know. You never know, right? Second comparison. If I say you have inputs ITC, input services ITC, and there is a cess also, always without payment option is better, because here you will get entire 6,500 as refund inputs. Entire 6. Not able to hear? Is there any problem? Is there any problem?
No, ma'am, audible.
Sagar Dubiji, you kindly check it at your level once, please. All right. Thank you, Ragesh. Thank you so much. Sir, you kindly type it to Sagar Dubiji, as he is not able to hear, so he won't be getting what we are talking about. Now, friends, if I say without payment of tax, if there is cess, now see, there is no cess on output. Tax paid is 5,000. The person will get refund of 5,000. If there is 6,500, if there is cess, always without payment option is better. Third case, if there is a huge stock, Sagar Dubiji, as you were not able to hear, I will just brief you once. You can later on check that. If you have capital goods purchase, it is always better to use the with payment of tax option, because it leads to encashment of capital goods balance also. In this example, here the refund was only 5,000. Here the refund comes out to be 12,000, resulting in encashment of ITC pertaining to capital goods, right? If you have huge stock, now you see, this is an exporter. He could not make much export. He just could make 1 lakh export during the month. Output tax 5,000. But he has purchased lots of material, bulk buying, and he had input of 32. If he goes for without payment, entire 32,000 is eligible as refund. If he goes for with payment, only 5,000 will be eligible. Only if you have capital goods, then use with payment. Otherwise, without payment of tax is always a beneficial option. Now, in this case, friends, considering the time constraint, let me come to the main issues. Sometimes when we go for import exports, we face a number of difficulties whether this particular item is import or not. Now let me ask you this, Mr. and I want answers from you. Mr. A is in Canada and Mr. B is in Kerala. Mr. A gave order to Mr. B that Mr. B, you have to supply to Mr. C in Punjab, sitting here. Now answer me whether it is exports from A, between A and B, whether it is exports between A and B, yes or no? Deemed export. Deemed export. Okay. Anybody else? No, this is not even deemed export. Deemed exports are only that which is mentioned in notification 48 by 2017. Only those 4 cases, no other. This is not an export. Sir, what is the definition of export? Taking goods out of India. Are the goods moving out of India? No. The goods are getting shipped to sea only. This is not export. It does not. It is built to ship to model. Although this person will invoice to Mr. B, Mr. A itself. But this is not export because export means taking out of India and the goods are not moving out of India. Another example, have a look. Mr. A is in Canada, Mr. B is in Kerala. A gave order to B for supply of goods. And you know what were these goods? These were certain molds. Some tools were there. And Mr. B said, Mr. A said, oh, Mr. B, you keep it with yourself. You keep it with yourself because you have to design the particular product for me. Now tell me, sale from Mr. B to Mr. A, is it export? Is it export? Yes or no? No, it is also not an export because the goods are retained in India itself. As the goods are retained in India, it does not qualify as exports. Friends, there are, okay, now let me ask you one more question. Mr. A and Mr. B had a transaction. Mr. B exported the goods to Mr. A. Now, Mr. A didn't like the goods. He said, I am not liking the goods. Mr. A returned the goods to Mr. B. Now, my question to you is Mr. B, when the goods are coming back, is he supposed to pay the import duty again? Srijit ji, is he supposed to pay the export duty again? Because these are the certain basic queries when I talk about exports we get. So that is why I put in here. Duties are not payable on return. You can use the same old shipping bill and you can say that as answer is no. No, you can use the same old shipping bill and no separate duty on a return has to be paid. So a number of case studies like this. Other than that, friends, whatever errors you face, friends, as for the recent circular, let me clarify one point. Lalitji, even if the part returns, you can use the same thing, that same old shipping bill that these goods were exported and now these are being brought into India or returned. Credit note is the document we use for that. And we use the old shipping bill along with the credit note. All right. Now, friends, these are the various errors. Let me bring to your notice one more thing. Some people wear the goods, as I told you already, that when we export the goods with payment of tax, the refunds are automatic. But some refunds are struck due to certain mismatches, due to all these errors. The government is soon coming up with the utility. If your custom refunds are withheld due to certain validation errors, you can file an application for the same because it was getting very difficult to contact the custom authorities. The refunds were piled up over there. So now they have given the option that if your refunds are held, the same can be applied through the refund application. Friends, provisional refund in case of exports, as in when you make the application, 90% of the refund amount is credited within 7 days. without any verification. And later on, when they give you 10 more %, some people says we are not getting the refunds, 90% within this. Let me tell you, we have got all our refunds, 90% of the amount within 7 days in case of exports without any verification. For later 10%, the verification is opted for. Other than that, I'm not discussing SCZ today because it is not the topic, but many people face difficulty between DTA and SCZ supplies. Let me clarify. This chart clarifies you the entire mechanism that how SCZ works, how a person who is in DTA unit, a supplier, he can supply to SCZ, zero goods as well as service, how SCZ is going to deal it, what will be his taxation, he can supply it with or without payment. For him, it is zero rated. And now when SCZ exports out of India, it is exempt as per SCZ. If SCZ, you know, SCZ is also allowed to supply some quantity to DTA. When they supply it to DTA services, it is taxable for SCZ. If they are supplying goods, DTA, you have to check. If it is with bill of entry, it is your import. RCM is payable. If it is without bill of entry, then SCZ has to pay the taxes. So many people think that how the entire process, so this slides give you the entire idea that how the transaction starts outside SCZ, goes to SCZ, and then SCZ further sells it to DTA, how the entire mechanism will work. Friends, other than that, export refunds are linked to IceGate. Here you can track the status of your IceGate if your refunds are not coming. How many invoices were there? How many of those have been matched? And the balance, which invoices, which return period, what is the net IGST balance? You can check the export ledger from there. If you have excessive cash ledger balance, that can be due to TCS or TDS scheme, or you directly deposited it in the cash ledger, the person is eligible for the TDS TCS refund. Listen, let's suppose Lalit ji is the deductor. He was supposed to deduct 1 lakh, but inadvertently 10 was put extra and he deposited 10 lakhs. Till the time Lalit ji put and give the credit to the deductee, he is eligible for refund of 9 lakhs. But once he file his return and put the deductee number and gives credit to him, then the deductee will be eligible for the refund. This amount, when you select, goes into the cash ledger of deductee, and the refund for the same can be claimed. I already told you that exports and deemed exports are separate categories. 48/2017 is the notification that deals with the deemed exports, and deemed export may only those 4 cases are eligible. Refund can be taken by the recipient or by the supplier. Friends, there are certain conditions attached to it. If you are exporting if you are under advance authorization, then then you must export without the payment of taxes. It is a necessary condition as per Rule 96 sub Rule 10. Friends, the case was already gone to the Honorable High Courts, and the Honorable High Courts has held the validity of Rule 9610. It means if you are exporting with payment of taxes with deemed exports, the refund will not be eligible. It is a necessary condition that the export must be made without the payment of taxes. Even if you are taking the benefit of 0.1% notification, export must be done without the payment of taxes. These are the summary chart. which says what amount you will get as a refund in which category. Already told you, now the with payment tax option is not going to be long. It is going to end soon. And friends, and these are the whole list of documents as per circular 125 that we need to attach. One thing more, for SCZ, the operations, the services must be the approved services. And here is the list of entire approved services. I'm just taking another 3 more minutes and let me discuss a few small amendments to the refunds. Friends, previously what used to happen, let's suppose the last day to apply for the refund was 19th January. And you know, we Indians are quite late in doing the things. This person comes to the chartered accountant on 4th of January and says, oh, it's 4th of January, I have to file the refund. Chartered accountant says, what are you doing? You know, 15 days is the time period for issue of DM. And if officer will issue your DM on 19th of January, your refund will be rejected. Because once a DM is issued, you have to make a fresh application and it will not step into the shoes of original application. This relief was provided by the government that in case the DM is issued, we will give you another 15 days. The time period will extend. If officer took 11 days, so we will extend the time period by 11 days with a subject to maximum of 15 days in case DM is issued. Friends, a number of refunds were rejected due to this. Because we applied for the refund, it was on the brink and DM got issued. And when there was a time to apply the fresh application, the time of 2 years had already expired. But now with this benefit, it is a good, very, very, very welcome move. Second, previously, if you filed some wrong application of refund or something, there was no option to withdraw the application. Now they have given the option to withdraw the application. Moreover, this is the very, very recent notification issued last month only that now the refund will be granted only when there will be Aadhaar authentication. Without Aadhaar authentication, no refund will be granted. Moreover, we talked about wrong payment of taxes. Remember, C paid as I paid as C or S. Intrastate, interstate, in that also they have given subsequently whether it was wrongly paid by the taxpayer himself, whether it is found by the officer concerned, you can file the refund application for the same if that has been wrongly paid, subject to no interest. And very, very important, you know, friends, Section 77 referred to the rules prescribed. The government now, after 14 years, has 4 years, has given the rule 89 sub-rule 1A. So that is why it says, if you have any wrong application of payment of taxes, wrong payment of taxes, the 2 years period will start from now. And if you in the future will pay from the date when you are paying it. So now as the notification came on 24th of September, the period of 2 years for wrong payment of tax will start from now. With this, I end up my deliberation. I have tried to cover even the Supreme Court judgment of VKC footsteps. This is the crux. 15 appeals were tagged together in it. Now I hand over to you, sir. Thank you so much to all of you for the patient listening. Sir, whosoever wants to ask the query, you can please unmute that person. Like Tony G is asking, unutilized ITC of previous years were on account of lower sale as compared to purchase and the items are well in stock. Tony G, only if the credit accumulation is due to inverted duty structure or on account of exports, only then you are eligible for refund. Otherwise, the answer is no. And as you have mentioned in your query, it is not on account of IDS. It is just the piling up of the stock. Answer is no, not eligible for refund of unutilized items. Thank you, Lalaji, for your kind words. Over to you, sir.
अंचल मैडम हमेशा के तरफ आपने एक वंडरफुल शो प्रस्तुत किया है. We are very grateful to you for this excellent and exhaustive presentation. I request Chairman of Alappuzha Branch, CA Rajneesh Ramamurthy, for the closing remarks and word of thanks.
Prashant sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Prashant sir. Respected Chairman of the Horse Branch, CA Praveen Narayan, Chairman of Thiruvananthapuram Branch, CA Ramesh sir, Chairman of Kotyam Branch, CA Prashant Srinivas sir, Chairman of Kannur Branch, CA Rajesh sir. It's my pleasure to propose vote of thanks. Firstly, on behalf of all the 4 branches of SARC of ICI, I express my sincere gratitude to our speaker, Sri Aanchal Kapoor. I express my sincere thanks to Chairman of all the 4 branches and the committee members for coordinating such a wonderful session and selecting an eminent speaker for that session. I express my sincere thanks to all the members who participated online today. I also express my sincere thanks to the technical team for the IT support, technical team of Trivandrum branch for the IT support. Thank you all.
A special word of gratitude to our chief guest, CA Sri Vivekanand IRS. Thank you so much for your valuable presence and the insightful information that you have provided. So friends, it's time for us to sign off. I request all of you to kindly stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Well, friends, on 18th of October, Kollam, Kottayam and Alappuzha branches are joining together for a CPE program on accounting standards for non-corporates. And on 22nd, we are having 8 branches coming together. All branches other than Ernakulam are coming together for a session on cryptocurrencies. And we are planning a mega event on 26th with our own MPV sir, talking on audit model maturity, audit quality maturity model. So lots of events are upcoming. I request all of you to participate in all of the events in large numbers. And we know it's a time of festivities. Navaratri is on. I am not willing to stand between you and the festivities. Wishing you a wonderful Navaratri and happy Saraswati Puja and Vidyarambham. Thank you. Signing off. CA Prashant Srinivas, Chairman, Kottayam Branch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anjal ma'am. Thank you, Prashant sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Rajneesh sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveenji. Thank you, ma'am.